Hello, my name is Arana Osmer, and I would like to present my new Podcast of Shadows. This is the very first episode of my new podcast, and I hope it'll be successful and that you will enjoy it. I chose to start this podcast because I was terrified at the amount of false information and pretend pagans who have decided to invade the podcast world. And it's just another way for me to commune on a more global level with other pagans and share my experiences and learn of yours. I have been High Priestess in a coven named the Temple of Osmer, which was set up in 1984 in New York City. And since then I've gathered a whole range of information on paganism and naturalism. Other than that, I'm a middle-aged housewife. Well, maybe a little more than that, but let's not say. I was born in Ireland and moved here to the US when I was 22. I met my soulmate here and decided to stay. I was married for over 20 years when my husband suddenly took ill and passed away several years ago. I have one son who is away living and loving life, and I'm left with my darling Pandora, my Yorkshire Terrier, and my hip attachment. Other than that, I'm a pagan, and I enjoy looking well and taking care of myself and living with nature. And that's it, really. Now, I'm going to start off telling you what I plan for my podcast. I'm going to try and keep it as organized and fabulous as I can, because some of the other podcasters out there are just atrocious. I won't mention any names. However, if she continues to bash me in her podcast, then I will. So watch out. I want to try and be as diverse as I can, so over the next few episodes, when I have time to do these podcasts, as I am quite busy with my other work and my coven that I don't know how I'm going to work this. But whatever. I want to try and cover everything from dreams, to crystals, to herbal remedies, to candles, spells, and, just a quick start guide for pagans on the path, and just help people find out if this religion truly is for them. So to kick off my first segment, I'm going to do a little talk about crystals. Now, I absolutely adore crystals, whether hanging them in my home for their vibrational energy, boosting spells, healing, firing them at people I don't like, or wearing them in fabulous jewelry that make me look fabulous, and also empowers my life. Who doesn't want to use them? Look back at ancient royalty, any royalty. If you didn't wear crystals, you were nobody. Now I'm going to start off by telling you how crystals actually work, because most people who use crystals don't even know how they work. So I'm going to have to just tell you now, my darlings. Now let me think of an easy way to explain this. Okay, basically think of it like this. Crystals are special items as they can store light and energy, but they can also unleash that energy through the vibrations and atoms and different things in their structure. Now, the way that they unleash this power is shown through their color, because it's the color of the crystal that shows the atoms in its structure, and which gives it its magical attributes or abilities, whatever you want to call it. Now, take, for example, carrots, which are high in vitamin A, which is because of its orange color, and why most green vegetables are high in iron. Now, don't think of it in too much detail, as you might be thinking, well, I have pale skin and she has tan skin, so am I lacking in something? No. Maybe she just had some more sun than you have, or maybe she had a 2-week holiday in Spain. Now, back to crystals. So, as I was saying, it's basically all in the color of the crystal, which is so handy because I can use the crystal to match my outfit during the season changes. If purple is in for 2014, then you'll know what I'll be wearing. Amethyst jewelry, all the way. The colors and vibrational energies of the crystals work with your own body's energy field called the aura. Now, the aura is made up of several chakras, which are different energy points spread throughout your body. Now, chakras run through the body, starting from the crown chakra, hold on till I find it on my own body, which is just above the forehead, Not on the forehead because that's another chakra, but just above at the tip of your head is the crown chakra. Now here's the magical part. Chakras are stimulated by energy vibrations, the exact same energy vibrations that are in crystals. So the next time you're feeling ill or just out of sorts, a lot of the time it can be because the energy flow and chakras in your body are blocked. Like a fuzzy television station, you can use crystals as a remote to tune these energies back together. Now, as I said about colour, which is very important to crystals, so don't forget it. Each chakra is stimulated by a different coloured crystal. Again, because the energies are different in each chakra as they are in each crystal. So for instance, the top chakra, which I said is known as the crown chakra, it's located just above the forehead and is stimulated by white stones. So a good way to stimulate that chakra would be to place a piece of clear quartz crystal under your bed pillow at night time. Now I'm going to try my best to post a poster or a diagram of some sort on my show notes if I can find one, because it might just help give you an example of what I'm talking about and give you a good idea of how they work. But in the coming episodes I'm going to detail all the various crystals, and together we can explore the magic of crystals. Now, I just have a visitor coming as Pandora's let me know. So I'm going to have a quick break and a cigarette, and I'll be back shortly for a bit of gossip. See you in a few minutes. My name is Arana Osborne, and I would like to introduce you to my new show, Podcast of Shadows. Being High Priestess of my coven for over 20 years, I would like to share with you my experiences. Together, we share a magical journey, so have a glass of wine in your hand, light some candles, or a cigarette, and join me for my Podcast of Shadows, available to download from iTunes or podcastofshadows@web.com. Hope to see you there. Hello again. Sorry about that interruption. That was a friend of mine that just stopped by to pick up something and to interrupt my podcast. So sorry about that, but I'm back now. Now, since this is my first episode, there's no doubt I'm going to sound a bit flat, because it's more sort of an introductory thing, so bear with me. Now, another subject I wanted to introduce in today's episode was charms and symbols. Did you ever stop to think, why is a horseshoe lucky? And what does a shamrock really signify? Well, that's another reason I want to explain the real meaning behind these charms and symbols. You never know what your traditional charm and symbol means unless you know about it. They can bring you protection, happiness, and love. Most people I meet today in my daily life are using charms without even realizing their significance and power. And that really frustrates me. They touch wood for good luck, exchange wedding rings, and wear colours of their favourite sports team while watching a match. But what they don't realize is that these actions originated back to ancient times, where our ancestors realized that the energy of the universe could be channeled into certain objects and their shapes. Charms are a strange thing that work with your mind. It's like a placebo effect, but with a magical kick. In today's world, charms are still effective tools when you use them with your awareness and with clear intent. For example, as I mentioned earlier, the horseshoe. Yes, a horrible, dirty horseshoe that was used to nail under an animal's foot, or something you would fling at someone that's running away with your handbag. Ridiculous, right? Well, maybe so, but a powerful tool if you've got the stones to learn about it. The horseshoe held upright traditionally represents a cup that holds love and good wishes. and with the points facing upwards represents the new moon, which also attracts luck. So you're doubling the power. Now that we're talking about horseshoes, I was at a wedding last year and I presented the bride and groom with my usual gift of money, a silver horseshoe, because I thought it would increase the fertility of their union and to help their love grow. And you know what? They're still married to this day because I give them that horseshoe. Charms and symbols are mysterious but powerful. Now, in the next few episodes, I want to try and cover the various different symbols and also explore everyday traditional charms, Celtic charms, evil eye charms, etc., etc., as I get through them. Now, starting today, I urge you all to include charms in your life. Why not just get a statue of fat old Buddha and place it by the entrance of your home? I'm saying that because I had an argument with my late husband when he came back to the house with a statue of Buddha. I said, there is no way on this earth that I will have a statue of Buddha in my front door and touch his stomach on the way in for good luck. Why can't we just get the horseshoes and other symbols? Shamrocks and horseshoes. Why do we need Buddha? Well, after talking with several of my friends and reading in the book, I realized you don't actually have to touch Buddha's stomach. You can touch him anywhere to activate the luck. Oh my goodness, I better stop this before the podcast gets an explicit rating. No, but simply hanging a dream catcher over your bed to deter nightmares. Or my trademark one. Whether I am staying over at a friend's or on a holiday, where I always have nature walks because I like to do that every day, I always place a cross of elder twigs over my front door. Find an elder tree, find 2 twigs, place them together over your front door. It helps deter unwanted guests. And we need that for all the thieves around. We need magic. What I'm trying to get across is that placing charms around your home can give you magical protection to your family, your possessions, and create a calm environment. Which is why I have tons of charms scattered around my home, as I get stressed very easily and can't always reach for a glass of wine and 2 paracetamol. Now, before I go any further and fall off my chair, I'm going to continue to my next segment and then go for a ciggy and wrap up with a nice glass of wine and relax for the evening. It's getting quite dark now outside because after all it is winter. Until what day? The winter solstice. Yule, of course. I hope you guessed it before I did. Of course I knew it because I have tons of things to plan for my coven. Or they'll exile me. I love winter time. Time for cozy drinks by the fire and beautiful snow-capped mountains. To explore with my Pandora. Oh, don't get me started as I'll talk on this subject for hours. Now, this wouldn't be a witch's podcast unless I did a bit of witchcraft and spells and magic. So I'd like to introduce you to my new segment, spellcasting. Now, with my other segments, I'm going to just be doing an introduction before I get into this. It's like your first day at school. I'd like to talk a bit about spellcasting, as when I was researching other pagan podcasts, I found it seems to be a bit of a grey area. Are they casting spells? Are they Wiccan? Are they pagan? Do they just say they are? I mean, what are we doing here? Is it a pagan podcast or isn't it? Well, to prove that mine is, I'm just going to get down to the nitty-gritty. What is spellcasting? How does it work? And can it benefit our lives? Well, a lot of my own coven members have asked this question to me for years. I have tried to find a simple explanation for them, to just get it the way I see it. But I think it's something they needed to experience for themselves. However, I did try my best, and I'm going to go one final haul for you, my dear people, before I myself pass away and all my fabulous knowledge is gone forever. To sort of properly explain it, we'll have to go back to the ancient times, because witches in modern times are often demonized for their beliefs. But for thousands of years, our spells were used to help protect people from life's stresses and pains. In the Middle Ages, each town and their local witch or medicine woman or medicine man would be there. But we weren't just known as witches back then. No. We combined the roles of doctors, midwives, vets, everything. We utilized the powers and effects of herbal medicine to heal human and animal ailments, and to aid birth, now that I think of it. There was no pharmacies back then, people. So imagine our ancient ancestors created their own knowledge of the herbs in the wild. They had to find their own ingredients. They must have had some intuition back then. Then there was spellcraft. Let me think. Spells, they aid your unconscious mind, and they help you focus on your wishes and attract the outcome that you want, using different natural ingredients to help you harness the magical energies that surround us all at all times. Now, traditionally, spells are usually, but not always, a combination of words and objects that you would use to focus the magical energies and direct them in such a way to achieve your desired result. I always think that spellcraft is the backbone of Wicca. I find spells can be used for everything, and if you allow yourself the time to be skilled in it, you can deal with all of life's problems and grow with the confidence you need to overcome them. Now, you don't need a specialist supplier to provide you with the equipment you need to cast spells. You can find most things like candles and crystals on any high street or supermarket, or any market stall for that fact. Magic is around us at all times, so the simple herbs and crystals you need to introduce simply just focus the magical energies. It doesn't create them. Now, over the course of my podcast, I want to try and introduce you slowly into the way of spellcraft. And this will combine everything from my other segments, like the herbs and the crystals and the charms, etc. Because these are all vital ingredients, as I mentioned before, with the crystals and the herbs, or the charms. They each have their own magical attributes. And it's those attributes we're going to be using in our spells. But there's no point me rambling on about it now, as we haven't covered it. And I really want us to join back together through the world of paganism and witchcraft. But to give you one example, the simple rose, which has been long considered a symbol of love, along with the magical attributes of love promotion from the flower itself, it would be wise to include some rose petals or oil in a love spell. Not that I'll be casting any of them myself, but there you go. There is so much in spell casting that it's even impossible for me to explain it all to you, or for myself to even store the information in myself. Timing of the moon, the locations, day of the week, colors of the ingredients, herbs, crystals, charms, ribbons, candles, oils. Oh, I could go on forever. But I will try to include bits. I suppose the best way for you to sort of get it and explain it would be to buy a reliable book and to sit and read it in your own time. To think offhand, I'm going to tell you about two of my favourite books. The first of which is from Kate West, a member of the Pagan Federation, an author of several books. But the one I want to recommend you all to is The Real Witch's Handbook. It is an amazing guide for all solitary witches that can't get to a coven. She also does a book for covens, which I have used in the past and had great success with it. So maybe it would be good, if you're interested, to also purchase that book if you want to get an idea what covens are about. And it just includes a bit more of a friendly atmosphere. Feels like you're with more people. I'm a very feeling person. Now, the next book I want to tell you about is by a dear friend of mine, Phyllis Kurth, Witchcraft. You might be able to purchase it on iTunes or Amazon, but I'm not sure. I will have a look myself, and if I find it, I will post a link on the show notes. Now, I have been friends with Phyllis for years, and I only got back in contact with her recently when I seen her book on the shelf in my local bookshop. I was astounded, and she really knows her stuff, so I would highly recommend that book. Now, I'm going to wrap this podcast up. I know it's short, but it's just a quick introduction and a test run, if you will, as they say in films, a pilot. I do apologize for any sound irritability this might cause. I'm not the best with technology, and I'm sure you might have guessed, I'm more of a naturalist. So my coven members are setting me up with a laptop to record my podcast on with some program. Oh, I don't even know what it's called. But for now, I'm recording this podcast on my phone, just so I can get it out before Yule, as I'm going to be very busy around that time doing things with my coven, and even the world itself, until it gets around this Christmas period and into the new year, which I suppose isn't far away. But please feel free to send me any questions you have, and I will read them out in my next show. I would love to hear what you think of my podcast, and feel free to email me at templeofaltmer, ALTMER, @gmail.com. I am going to create a separate email address for this podcast, but for now I'm just going to use my coven address. It's just an easier way for me to bunch all my pagan and Wiccan things together, and it's all connected to my phone so I can do it on the go. Now, that's all I really have to say, to be honest with you. So, until next time, I want to wish you all a happy Yule, and blessed be, my darlings. May the goddess protect you all through time and